I'm dividing this video into two parts. The first part is just going through the same steps that we've been going through all week, except that this time she's not tied. And my anticipation in doing this, now that she's back in the round pen, is that she was going to have to be chased to get her to stand still for these things that she's been doing while she was tied. So the first thing that I started with was brushing. And sorry, you can't see really well what I'm doing because she's not turned sideways. But this is the brushing part. And I'm just using a curry comb and a brush on her. Just get some of the dust off and that sort of thing. But if you'll notice, she's standing very quietly. You can't really tell too much, but she's not tied. She's just standing there and letting me brush her. And I'm telling her to whoa. Now you realize that I have been tying her to a post and then brushing her and then giving her a treat when I get through with each task. And I'm going to continue doing that today. Something I've never done before working with round pen training. But as I told you, there was a lady who used to do that all the time. Anytime her horse would stand still for something, she would give it a little treat. And I'm using that with Salty because Salty has so far not responded very well to learning, to the round pen training. I mean, I won't say that we haven't gotten anywhere because we obviously have. But it took tying her to get her to let me pick up her feet and all of those kinds of things. There's somebody else holding her and somebody else helping me. So that's not what I'm used to when it comes to round pen training. I'm used to the horse doing what she's doing right now without going through that step at all. So I'm not ever sure what Salty's thinking or what she's planning to do. She tomorrow will probably be thinking about ways to get out of doing what she's doing right now, which is just standing still while she's not tied. I'm going to suspect that I'm going to have to chase her tomorrow because she'll have figured out. She stands around the pasture and thinks about these things, it seems to me. I'm just really not totally serious when I say that, but it seems that way. She's a horse that goes backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and slowly moves forward. So I'm going to interrupt myself here. I want you to notice that she is following me. And this is the way that horses do after they've given you their cooperation when you're doing round pen training. But trust me, this is not why Salty is following me. She's following me because I've been giving her these treats. And that's what I'm doing right now. I have treats hidden underneath that blue tub right there. Okay, next step. Pick up your feet. Look at that. She's not tied. She's not wearing a halter. She's just standing there getting her feet cleaned out. This is really Salty. I can hardly believe it. But apparently what I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 times I've worked with her, which is doing all this with having her tied and then giving her a treat. You notice I'm going to give her a treat after every foot that she picks up for me. Now, of course, these treats will eventually become less and less. I'm just doing it while I'm getting her groomed and tacked up. See, there she's standing for the next foot. So she's doing very well. Surprisingly well. I thought that she would be having to be chased. I never thought that she would stand still like this to have her feet picked up. This is, in reality, is the first time that she has ever done this without being tied. Just stand there. And as you can imagine, I was beyond pleased. And then she gets her treat. Now I'm going to pick up the back feet. And she's being really good about that. So there goes that one. Another treat. Each one gets a treat. Now I'm including everything I did as far as all these steps because I want you to see the results of the work that we were doing while she was standing tied. She did give me a little bit of a resistance right there, but she soon gave it up. She doesn't bite me as much with the back feet because I've learned that system of putting the foot in my hand, so if she kicks, I just stand there and hold on to it while she's doing it. So she's given up fighting me on the back feet because of that. On the front feet, she wants to just put her weight down on it and not pick them up. You know, she doesn't just cooperatively go, oh, okay, pick them up, get it done. Okay, next step, the saddle pad and the girth. At this point, we're on the left side. They're all going on together. I don't have to do the saddle pad and then the saddle and then the girth. She lets me put the whole thing on. And I'm going to drop that girth down. Now, again, in tightening the girth, this is where she gave me some resistance. Part of the reason is that I didn't put that girth in the lowest hole on the other side, so I had to really pull hard to make the ends meet under there. And as you can see, she's kind of walking away. There she goes. I thought that's what she did with me on that one. But I did get it tightened up, and I'm not going to chase her for that because she did whoa when I told her to. Now, got the second strap to get tightened. There's two buckles under there on this saddle and girth. So I've got the second one done. Time for a treat. Good girl. Okay, then the next thing I did, I'm like, well, surely I will have to chase her before she's going to let me put this bridle on. But I can tell you ahead of time, she did not do that. And what I did was I took the reins off before I put it on. In the case of this particular bridle with this particular full cheek sample, that's kind of a mistake because every time I do that, that bridle twists around and I have a problem. And she's like, no, I don't think please don't put that in my mouth. Well, this is what we've been doing every day, Salty, remember? Now, in the video, apologize for this. You can't really see what I'm doing. But I will tell you that I put my arm around under her neck and over her nose and put the bridle on really without too much trouble. But something, you could see something was wrong, that it was pulling the full cheek piece into her head a lot, into her face more than it should have been. And what I realized is that it had twisted and that the bit was twisted in there in her mouth. So what I did was on the right side, the twisted side, I undid the cheek piece from the bit with the bit still in her mouth. I flipped it upside down on the right side to get it correct. It was already upside down and I flipped it over with the bit in her mouth, and she's still just standing there letting me do all this. I was beyond pleased and surprised. Then I had to put the cheek piece back on, and that's what's taking me so long to get the bridle on today. But I did not put the reins on there because I'm going to be using the lead lines, the driving lines today, lunge lines. I have two lines that I use for lunging and for driving. And I'm just going to see during the time today how well she does with all that. We haven't done any lunging in a long time. I worked in the round pen in a long time. Now, the next thing that I did was that I pulled after I got the bit fixed, I'm not sure whether, can't see, I'm sorry, what's going on. When I'm doing this voiceover, that video is so tiny. But the next step that I did after the bridle was I pulled the stirrup down and put my foot in the stirrup the way I'd been doing from the mounting block when she was tied, having her tied and putting my foot in the stirrup. Okay, here she gets her little treat for the bridle. I have to give her a little small amount because she has that bit in her mouth. I haven't gotten to the stirrup part yet, but I'm about to. So, okay, so next, down comes the stirrup. I think I had to be sure the girth was tight before I did that. And I'm pretty sure I tightened that girth up right there and she didn't give me any trouble. I was getting ready to start driving her, and then I kind of remembered, oh, I forgot this little step. I want to go ahead and try putting my foot in the stirrup today the way I've been doing in the past. So I'm about to stop the video here, and then I'll pick up with where we started lunging and trying to drive. But I'm hoping that I didn't cut it off too short that you'll be able to see me get my foot in the stirrup. Could be that I've already done that. I can't figure out what's going on here. Can't see it. So I'm sorry. Okay, I think I'm doing the stirrup now, maybe. Yeah, through the lead line back and put my foot in the stirrup. Video's about to stop, but I want you to see that I put my foot up there. See there? Put my weight in the stirrup. I've tried to anyway. I'm getting old. And I've got my weight in the stirrup right there. She is just standing. See me bouncing around? She is just standing like a real good girl. So this was great. This was great. It was a very happy day. This part. Next part coming up, lunging.